little air connect.
Got it.
So yeah, whoever's there, then they'll help you, they'll show you everything, and then if you can get an estimate back to them as well. And
Yeah, that's not a problem whatsoever.
So we can act on this today and go ahead and approve it. I would assume, I guess I would,
Approximately how long will it?
This is probably to clean these affected air handlers that I have just on this list. It's probably gonna be 4 to 5 days to do all this properly. So it'll be about a week process.
so I guess I would take a motion.
Is there going to be, if he does the conservation, is that gonna get us over?
Well, that would be,
separate,
he has his own budget, actually. I mean, so I mean,
That-
I'm
yeah,
saying
that
it's
would
part of the
actually-
whole thing.
that
But
would get billed directly to Worth County Conservation.
So you'd have to keep those two bids separate.
Yep, that's completely fine. What I'll do is I'll just kind of write up this next building on a different work order and whatnot. So
I do sheriff separate too, probably, right?
just maybe for accounting, if nothing else.
Yeah.
Yep.
yeah, no problems.
Yep, just, if you can just, sort them out for each section.
Yep, that's completely fine.
Okay. I'll make a motion to have Serve Pro come in and clean our ducts.
Is there a second?
No, second.
And seconded, is there any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Motion will carry. Thank you.
Yep, no problem.
What's the time frame?
It'll
Couple
probably
weeks?
be within the next 3 or 4 weeks, I would assume. I gotta get some time to get everything gathered up and make sure I got a good crew going for it. So that way we can do it as fast and efficiently as possible for
Yeah,
y'all.
just keep in touch with Brian then, so he can put the heads up out to everybody that's gonna be affected by it. And
Perfect.
we'll go from there.
All righty, well, thank you so much, guys. I appreciate your time.
Thank
bet.
you.
Thanks for handling it, Brian.
Thanks, Brian.
My nose appreciates that.
Yeah.
My nose appreciates that.
Well, I,
We gotta
people in
clean
that
that
city,
stuff
you
up.
know, I'm not so sure mine don't get fired up when I come here.
Whether you
too.
build new or what you do, we gotta get some of this stuff up to date, because we got people in here working all the time.
Yep. Okay. Dan, Sheriff.
Joel and I basically working with our logger again. Now Chickasaw County wants to sign up similar to what we have with Winnebago, Hancock, Sarah Gordo and Clear Lake. Use of our logger for $4,800 a year. So that would put us 5 of them that are now renting from it. So for us, it's a good deal. We've already got the infrastructure. We've got the room in there. Probably we're gonna be talking maybe only 1 to 2 more additional on there. I've kept it open for Mitchell County. I don't want to overload our system, and I think we're getting to the point where we're not there, but I want to leave some room in there.
Well, just managing it, you know, if you got that many people, you know, dialing into your systems, it can be a management nightmare because you want to keep track of those connections.
But even with that, with 5 of them signed up, you're talking, that's 48,000 each one of them would pay if that logger would go 10 years. To replace that logger will be about 80,000. So we're coming out pretty decent on this. And the other part of it is that was in our grant, so we didn't pay anything for the original logger. But Chickasaw wants to sign on and pay us some money, so.
So basically in 3 years, we pretty near have enough to replace the logger. So can we use the rest of that?
We have
We'll
been,
earmark that some,
Should be.
to replace it, obviously, but we use the rest of that for our annual maintenance with Motorola.
I know last year we actually stuck some back in the budget. We're gonna do that for a couple of years to help out.
I'm just keeping track of it on
Which is
online.
perfect.
That's
Okay.
about it.
Well, I just, as
Yeah.
far as, obviously we'll want to somehow set some aside so we can replace that thing. But yeah, as far as, we're paying $190,000 a year in maintenance,
Mhm.
that'd be nice to use that money to help pay that as
Yeah.
well.
Which is part of the budget, so. I mean,
Yeah.
It goes back in the budget.
Yeah, if it goes back, yeah.
Money in, money out type of deal, so, which is
But-
good.
Yeah, the
As long as we
Motorola
can-
stuff is coming out of my budget, so.
As long as we still got room and we can handle it, I say.
Yeah,
this-
we're
this
good
is
right
a
now.
no-brainer.
I'd like to talk to Waltech though. I don't know how much more room, but I'd like to be. Mitchell eventually will get on this system. It might not be in the next 2 years, but that way all of us right here in the surrounding area would be with Hancock and Winnebago and Cerro. So that would leave room for Mitchell to sign on with us also.
So I will take a motion to accept the LMR data logger membership 28 agreement with Chickasaw County.
I'll make that a motion.
Is there a second?
I will second it.
Any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Motion carried. So do I need to sign this or who's all signing this? Is everybody here? or
No, just you.
No.
You and Brother Dan.
I wish we could get some bites on the tower, but none there, the
That's right.
water's not over big, the tower.
Got the next tower for.
For just us. That's all, we're all the only ones on it, right?
Yeah,
No, that would be nice to get, rent some space out there too, because then if there's any maintenance included with that thing. Let somebody else pay for the maintenance on that stuff, you know, I mean.
Or just give it back. Oh, everybody.
Joel?
does it?
no,
Oh,
just give it to Joel.
Okay.
Okay. Okay,
They'll give it to me when it's.
I will do that.
so
Since he
A,
does the billing and that, so.
gotcha. ARPA fund discussion and possible action on the use of the funds.
We had another meeting last week. And obviously the first go around, we've earmarked for the water and wastewater facility, it's, you know. Now discussion was last week to we had discussed before also putting in Wi-Fi and security cameras at Keenan's and Worth County Lake.
Yep.
And Joel and Jim are still waiting on prices for that,
Should have pricing either next week or the week after.
but we're looking probably in the neighborhood of 40 to 50,000. WCTA said the Wi-Fi they've got it to Keenan's, but they'll put it into Worth County Lake for free, right? So we just have to basically get whatever equipment's necessary for cameras and wireless, which for the campground, it'll be an incentive for people to be able to use Wi-Fi while camping also, so.
Perfect, I can raise it another 10.
So we're-
I don't know.
Yeah, we're tentatively
They can raise it.
we're tentatively gonna kind of earmark that as soon as we get final pricing. Then there's also discussion on hazard pay, we'll call it, for employees that were working here during the process, and it was majority of the folks there wanted to see the pay for the employees at a rate of either 1,000 to 1,500 per employee. There's a couple people that did not want to do that, so, but it was majority, so I said I would bring it to you guys, trust the board, and just to decide that. We don't take another payment until August. And we kind of got our money earmarked for casino to hopefully start construction this spring. So if we did that, would it be necessary to wait till August
To the next round.
to get the next round of money? That's if we want to go that route.
I gotta call into Jamie Cashman to find out the ins and outs of it, and if it's recommended or not.
Well, he told us a lot of stuff down at statewide supervision that we hadn't heard about. What it could be used for, so good idea to get it directly from him. Let's see.
And I talked to him the next day on the phone. I have some ideas that I ran across it too, so.
I guess for now, as far as my thoughts, as far as any bonuses, whatever you want to call them, hazard
Don't
pay.
call them bonuses.
Yeah, I know, whatever you want to call them, whatever it's legally got to be called. I would prefer to hold off on that. I think using this money, I think for things for the greater good of the county is probably the way we should be looking. And I would hope the employees would understand that this is money coming back, and it's not necessarily, I don't know if that was the intended purpose of this originally or what it was intended for. They were just throwing money around. I'm not sure. But
The
I do
federal
think
government's been throwing money around on everybody.
I think there's pretty good options to do some things here that directly benefit the taxpayers of this county that help them out versus coming up with 40,000 for cameras that we now have to pay for, or $700,000 project out at the casino that the taxpayers would have to pay for. If we can utilize this money, I mean, we're gonna pay for it one way or another through whatever, but I do think it's a good opportunity to improve some things in this county at this time. Or for the county itself, possibly postpone, type of situation of the vehicles in which we've talked about public health as a board. Anyway, we just don't have an idea where the money's gonna come from and where we would put it. That's the other issues that we have to deal with, so, but I think some of this money should be used for things like that.
Yeah.
That's my opinion.
And another thing that was discussed the prior meeting and this last meeting we had was possible building for a future drive-through clinic if we ever need it, which could be utilized for storage up until that point if it ever came again. We put our transit buses inside out of the weather in the wintertime. EMA trailer needs a home. Elections trailer could go in there. there's probably a handful of other things, so it would be set up basically as a drive-through, but we could utilize it for storage.
If we needed it for a drive-through, it would be available.
Yeah, we could clear it out and have that availability in town. I talked with Chad Nelson on the Fair Board. And they have a meeting coming up either this week or next week shortly. He was going to look at possibly at the fairgrounds, if there's something we could revamp there or a place to build a new building that they could also utilize during fair time. So we would pretty much have it 11 months a year. Come June, we'd clear our stuff out, let them use it during fair time, and then we put our stuff back in. So they were gonna discuss that at their next meeting, and then Chad was gonna get back to me on what they were thinking, and then we could take the next step of size. Do we remodel or do we just build a new one? Which all that would take place after the fair this year again, because there's no way you get it done now.
So that was, that was,
And we don't have the money right now.
yeah, we don't have money right now.
Right.
So one time it was talking, I don't know if you were on board with it or not, you definitely, John Deere wanted to build a building out there, start combining in the off season. And,
Yeah.
of course, there was a lot of uproar in that because, okay, now they get the building, they won't pay any property tax on it. And probably right. But, this would be a situation too, where something like that could be built. We could use it for storage, and then during the season, they could use it for that's where what the thought was, is they'd empty it out during the fair, and then like the machinery and equipment that the dealers wanted to display could actually use that shed as an enclosed space, kind of like an inside show.
Yeah.
Show barn for new equipment and things like that. And so maybe that's still a possibility. Something like that could happen. I mean, I know that
Yeah,
some of the barns need it, still need work out there too. They're old, but
and Chad had kind of mentioned that, but we didn't really get into detail on it. I didn't know.
yeah, I don't
hadn't
think
heard
you
nothing
were on.
about
This
it,
is
So,
3
And that's
years
been
ago.
several years.
Yeah.
That's-
Maybe it's been,
Hayden was still working on,
yeah, maybe. So that's probably
So
like
it's-
4 years ago. then.
Yeah.
It's a while ago.
it's quite a few
Yeah.
years ago
So-
when that was mentioned.
Right when they started. pretty
Yeah,
much.
that's when
Yeah.
it was when we took it. Okay. Anyway, it's been talked about, stuff that would be an option if they wanted to look at that too.
yeah, and they're gonna, like I said, they're gonna discuss all their next board meeting and then get back to me after that, and we'll see which direction they have intentions of going, so. And then also, we've been discussing this fraud guard thing. $7,000 to buy it or something like that.
Yeah,
then-
7,800, but then
Yeah.
there's $800.
Yearly maintenance.
Yearly
Yearly
maintenance,
maintenance.
which we would cover out of our budget. so.
Yeah.
Yep.
But
And
the
then-
first year you could do it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
the
You could do the
initial.
whole 7,800 first year, and then after that, just cover the 800.
ARPA money can be used for that.
Yeah, ARPA money could be used for that.
That's
So that was
something
another discussion or possibility.
If the
Because
taxpayers, property owners would utilize it, it's something. they
it's a benefit to them,
They'd be willing to.
because if something ever does happen with their land that goes through, then they would be aware of it. Before they,
Do have some security issues that Tyler hasn't addressed on this yet.
right,
so-
yeah, and it's like I said, that was just,
Nobody has signed up for it.
Right. let's not be the first on this one. If
Yeah.
I can
I would like
recommend
to be,
not being the first on something, let's not be the first.
I don't
on
want to
that.
be a pilot. I was a pilot. We were a pilot
We were
back.
the pilot.
Rita
Yeah.
The concept is great, we're just not sure whether they
Yeah.
can get their
Yeah.
bugs out of their system.
But that's just another possibility of how we could utilize that to get another.
Maybe by the second go around, they'll have some of the bugs
Yeah.
worked out, maybe.
Let the others jump on board first. and
Well,
see how it goes.
I think everybody's watching us right now, so we'll see.
So they should actually just give us the program the first year, and then we'll help them work the bugs out or something.
So
Yeah.
that is one of the advantages of beta is you
Yeah.
do get usually less expensive. So.
Mhm.
But yeah, ARPA money can be used for all that
Just-
stuff.
Right.
Just
You know, it could have been used for the cameras and
get it out.
the lights on the building
We're gonna make
too.
millions on it, so.
And I even mentioned that, I've been mentioning this stuff for 3 or 4 months here. We just
So
keep
even
going with the
for
general
the
budget.
duct cleaning,
Yeah, ARPA
Technically,
money
we
can
can't
be
use
used
it
for them
that
duct cleaning.
Because it's,
it's helped.
everybody's been upgrading their HVAC systems for air quality.
Mhm.
Well, we're definitely gonna be searching for the money anyway, so
Well, there's like-
we have to do it.
There's like
Mine-
$16,000 that isn't ear notched right now, so that air cleaning, we could
Right.
probably take care of.
And that's obviously
We need to.
a big thing that needs to get.
And I did ask him about your election machines, and Jamie Cashman said that would be great to pay
Yeah, I
for
got-
41,000,
I
but you
got
don't
that
wanna do
taken-
that.
No, I'm taking care of that.
See, I like to keep as much in that general fund as possible, so we don't have to cut people's wage increases again. That's just my thinking on it. Every time we save for the general fund, we're able to pay more bills. And if ARP money can pay for it, I say use ARP money. Were you saying that we should table the pay till August to decide on whether we're doing it or not? Or did you?
I think it's something we need to continue. I mean, when we have things that continually fall into our need category that really was never budgeted for. We didn't budget a year
But we
ago for
haven't been
cleaning
using it.
HVAC. I mean,
You know, we
you
need
know,
to
if we
start
could
using
possibly
it.
use that money for those kind of things, I think that's what needs to be done. Because we already know that we're gonna struggle with budget this year too. So I mean, you know, when we're gonna continue, we continually have to take care of this building until we get to the next step. You know, in the past, some of that's been let go, I think, and we can't do that. You know, these things are multiplying rapidly, you know, pipes breaking, mold in the system, you know, pretty soon we spent 40, 50 grand on a building that, you know, what do? You know, all we're doing is still putting Band-Aids on things. So,
But we can pay for those
but we can
Band-Aids.
pay
at
for
the
those
present
things out of
time.
these funds. I think that's what we need to do. I think instead of committing funds towards, you know, and I know other people are getting it, I get that, but you know, fact is, we never really shut down. We never forced anybody to take vacation. We never did anything where, you know, I would say if we had to do some of those steps, I would be all for it, you know, but.
I guess my
And
opinion
that's my
on it
opinion
is,
only. You guys,
my opinion on it is, ever since last spring when this came out, when it came to the employees with the hazard pay, there was two departments that I thought if anybody should get it, they should get it. And that's the Worth County Health Department, because you don't know what's coming through the front door over there. And the same way with the Sheriff's Department. When the deputy gets out there and picks somebody up, you have no idea what you're gonna run into when you go up there and have him roll down his window. And then you haul him into the jail in here, and you don't know what this guy's got, or this girl, or whoever you're. So yeah, when it comes to those two departments, if there was premium pay, I would have to say that's a prime example of using it. But on the other side of the coin, I don't know how to separate that out from the rest of the employees. We've known since probably spring that elected officials aren't.
yeah,
We're just out of it, so that's no big deal. So I guess my attitude would be on it, and after looking at some of the other programs that were out there and all the checks that were mailed out to everybody in the county, which I don't understand how some of them got it, but there's a lot of them, like restaurants and small business, that needed it and kept them going because they were there after the pandemic. So I thought that was great. And
yeah. there
at
was
the
a lot
last
of-
Winworth Betco meeting, when I asked the mayor of Northwood, he said they gave every one of their employees $1,500. His theory was, when it comes to the water plant and it comes to that wastewater treatment plant, he says, I gotta have those people show up. I cannot have them call up and go, I quit. I'm not, this is too dangerous.
Yep.
So they handed it out to everybody. So that's where I'm coming from. I've always felt that if there was two groups, Worth County Public Health and the Sheriff's Department, but yet I can't leave everybody else out. So I don't know how you differentiate between them.
Okay.
And I don't think their departments need to approve it or anything, because this is completely different. It's never been done in the United States of America before. You know,
Hope it's never done again.
if the federal government can hand out money like that, I don't know how your department can shut it down. So that's just my opinion where I'm coming from.
Right.
If there was two groups, I just, you know, they did put
Go
it was risky for them, because they had, even at Worth County Public Health, you didn't have any idea what was coming through that front door.
Right.
So that's just kind of where I come from.
And I told the committee, I'm on the fence on it. I mean, I understand it as the hazard of being here and having to work here, but at the same token, nobody went without pay, nobody went without anything, so, you know, I always support our employees, but like I said, I'm on the fence on it too, so I don't know. And if it's, you know, good for one, it's good for all. That's how it should be treated.
Should be treated that way.
So,
Yeah, do I think we ought to save money in the general budget and pay for a lot of this other stuff? You bet I do. I thought we should have been doing it for the last 3-4 months here. You know, and especially now when they came out about 6 weeks ago with the fact of most of the proving of the paperwork is gone. As long as you spend it on county stuff,
Yeah.
you're good. Before that, it was kind of a paper nightmare mess, trying to prove everything out, but
Right.
it was possible to do it that way too.
Did I get this right? Is there gonna be some state money coming?
Yeah, you did. There was an email sent out.
That's separate.
I know it's.
Do you have any
separate,
idea?
but We
Did they
have
give
no
you
idea on
figures?
that yet, do we?
Or you just figure out what kind of a project you want to do, fire it to the state, and they decide how much money you're gonna get, or
That's what I was wondering.
what's that?
That'd be was Jamie Cashman's name in that one too?
Yeah.
or-
Yeah,
Yeah.
Jamie Cashman is the one you
I'd
get in
run it by-
contact there
I'd
with.
run it by him.
That's the thing. I mean, yeah, do we have to come up with this, dream it up? We send it off to the state and they say yes or no, or do we, you know?
Right.
That's my question. So,
Because it doesn't do much good to come up with a project and send it to the state, and they come up with half of it, and we don't have the other half.
right,
It would be enough, it would be nice to kind of have an idea of what there's, what kind of a range we got in here to, for a
Unless it's-
project.
which
Unless it's something you could align with
the
WCDA too.
Yeah.
or
CDA or
something.
the rest of the ARPA funds or whatever.
Because if it was economic development, that's what that stuff's for.
Supposed to be.
Well, I got told by some people from WCDA when it comes to the building for the ambulance, that they're all for that. That's all.
Yeah, I don't think we'd have.
I don't think we'd have a problem getting that built. It's
Just
just
all
the
has to fall into place. Sometimes at times.
the maintenance. That's our,
Budget times.
that's our next discussion too.
Yeah,
Yeah, and I haven't
Oh.
had any time, if you guys have looked at those,
Yeah.
I haven't, I don't have time to put anything together.
you don't have to.
But as far as the ARPA, that's pretty much how our meeting went,
Okay.
committee meeting, so we're gonna continue to meet. Because we need to try to utilize this money the best places we can, so.
Okay.
We've still got some that's not earmarked for anything yet, so.
Certainly.
Well, we got quite a bit not earmarked, right?
Yeah.
I mean, we got over half of it not earmarked yet.
Because the second payment basically would be 700,000, and we're figuring roughly 40 to 50 for the Wi-Fi and cameras, and then nothing else has been really.
So you got six
And
hundred
then
and
a
fifty
building
thousand.
would be nice, for future use, so.
But WCDA might go in on that too.
Possibly. But
Just, yeah, have to do the fall. Look at the fall.
Anytime they're willing to help out or kick in money to save the county money, considering the way our budget is, I'm gonna make use of them.
Yeah, well, it's definitely not a budget item that we can deal with right at this time. I mean, we could, you'd have to be looking at debt service, and we're not really looking at that, so, for a project like that, but.
right.
So, anyway, if there is, you want to take action, you're sure welcome to. We can decide yes or no, but I guess I prefer just to wait on that.
Well, my attitude is if you've got 700,000 already earmarked, which we do.
Yep.
And that's all we've got so far. We don't have money to do it at the present time until that second.
Second round comes.
Yeah. I guess it should be revisited again on that second round because there's not money there. Or am I wrong here on how I'm thinking?
No, I'd say you could easily revisit it before that deadline. So I
Yep.
mean, if you were.
So it's ready to
If you
go.
wanted to earmark, if we had another project set aside and there was enough money to earmark for, then you could earmark that difference, at that point. But if we've already earmarked, this time around, I mean, it's definitely something we keep on as a discussion. But I do think there's probably better projects we can utilize in the county that helps everybody in this county. So, and I think,
And I agree with you totally on that.
Yep.
But I do know that the federal government, when they started sending out checks, they didn't help everybody.
no,
Right.
yeah. And there's a lot of places that didn't do things fairly, that they just did it quickly and.
I think the envelope got pushed.
Absolutely, absolutely. So, all right, so we'll just let it sit for now then and continue to move forward as a committee, and continue to discuss it. All right, EMS discussion. So basically, we're leaving this up to you.
Jackie had found a couple of resolutions to
Yep.
declare EMS as an essential service. They both look fine by me, whether it's Athenos or Bremer, that we plagiarize a little bit.
I didn't see much difference between them, and a little verbiage, a little longer, a little shorter.
So,
Either one looked good to me.
right, so all we gotta do is if we get it in, were those in Word document?
So you just
Oh, you
change the,
So, I mean, if you want, if we decide to do that, I can go in, and if it's Word document, I can go in and change everything.
I can change it if it's PDF.
Oh, you can? I don't know that. But I think it's all Word documented. It was, but anyways, so then we could get that established.
Well, I
Get it
think we need
posted
to
in the
keep
paper.
moving ahead on this regardless of whatever ends up doing, in order to get it on the ballot, we gotta keep moving ahead with it. I know I talked to Winnebago County and they've had a couple meetings or one meeting, and the first meeting went pretty well, I guess.
Did they already declare it or? no?
They have
They had
already
declared
declared it. They've gone to basically public meetings, public hearings, or we don't call them. Not sure what public meetings up or anything, so,
Committee?
yeah, and they have not formed a committee yet.
No, they did that. That comes,
I don't think so.
They've just had a kind of a, with all their entities,
Yeah.
meeting is what they've been meeting with, which most likely all those people are all gonna be involved in it, and same with us, it's gonna be a lot of,
50, 60 people show up. to the first meeting.
or
And I'm not sure which town it was, or where it was. I wonder if it wasn't a Thompson or something like that. So,
oh, I thought you didn't get the advisory council until after the third meeting.
after the
third
resolution.
reading, yeah. Yep. or the
Then you
resolution.
got that advisory council.
Then you try to form a advisory council, which one of us will be sitting on that, which I would suggest. David
Yeah, I'll be
is,
on that.
And digging into it, and then other than that, it's community people.
And like I say, it's gonna be,
It should be fun, but,
I think it'll be whatever, there wasn't, I didn't really see a specified number
so,
of how many people's, but it won't be a problem to get 7 to 9 people on the advisory.
I wouldn't hurt if they'd be willing, your township trustees would be, they're the ones that are dealing with.
Well, I think you'd want the services represented too.
Well, that's the thing, is I
Right.
think most of ours, that'll be where most of it comes from, and then we'll probably get a couple other
Yeah.
outsiders. We'll have to be a part of that as well. Because what it is basically they gotta, at the end of the year, they're the ones who gotta put together a report. Bring it back to us to show, okay, this is where all the money got spent, that's all public knowledge, it was all spent in the right places.
That's when it comes down.
So
Then
they
then
make
we adjust the tax levy for the next year, because if we tax, then we tax for 600,000, we only spent 550, and then we drop the levy just a little bit, because we have that little bit of extra, we can't have that. So you drop the levy for the next year to try to keep it basically dollar for dollar. So,
do we make the decision on how it's going to get paid for? As far as whether we do it on your Iowa income tax part of it and property tax part of it?
if it makes it through the election, then we decide the taxation.
I thought that had to be on there before the,
It's almost has to be on
I
the
thought you had to
ballot.
show how much and how you were gonna collect that money before the ballot.
Right, that's
before
what
the
that committee,
election.
the committee has to make the decision,
Committee's
how many
gotta-
dollars it's gonna take, how they're gonna, what their suggestion is and how to assess it, I believe.
Yep, the voters have to know exactly what's
And
happening.
the ballot
That's
item
the way I
will
read
be,
it.
yes,
Set
we want
straight
EMS set on property
Yep.
tax or income tax, however you want to, as far
I
as.
think that's all gotta be laid out before you vote
I
on
think
it.
it has to spell out in the ballot issue exactly what it is.
That's the way I read it.
So,
So,
yeah, could be right.
I'd have to read it again, but I believe
Yeah,
that's.
yeah. 'Cause I know obviously for the declaring it, we don't have to worry
yeah,
about
we just
that.
gotta do
We just
that.
gotta
We just have to declare, it, which is, yep. there was no-
60 days of notice and then public
the-
hearing. done, but-
Yeah,
And counties have done it different ways. Some of them just went with the levy. Others have included the income tax.
Right.
I don't know.
And I would
We
imagine,
haven't
that-
all done it the same.
right,
yeah, the advisory council, they'll have input off of that.
yes,
too.
I should.
So.
Well,
So we
I-
just have to do this, what was it, a resolution?
Yeah,
Resolution.
We need to
have
get that on the agenda for next week then?
yep, I will get
Yeah.
that.
You need it in the newspaper for a certain amount, for 60 days before you do any action.
So I will get the resolution transformed into our name basically, so it's all Worth County stuff. We'll put it on the agenda for next week. And if we approve to post it, then we can get to the paper and get it posted. And there's the 60 days,
To the first reading.
Yep. and then that'll set the public hearing date.
And we only have to do two for sure.
We have to do
We can waive
half
the
of
third.
it.
Two.
Yeah.
And wait, the third one. I
We'll know if
suppose.
there was, it is anybody's ability at that time, they can come in and object loudly if they wanted to, so no, we don't want. to
And
do
it's been talked about for a year and a half already, and so I think a lot of people are aware, and they're becoming more and more aware, but they'll continue to grow.
Yep.
So I'll do that, I'll get that switched over, and then we'll make sure it's kosher and get it posted, or get it on the next meeting to approve it when we post it, so.
All right, sounds good. Is Melissa on there today?
That's good.
I don't see her. All right, Chris is not on today. Department head discussion.
Actually, come back up.
Yep.
That contract is up,
Or, oh,
will be up.
yeah,
We have to put out letter 90 days.
okay.
Well, question or with the renewal, it is CPI plus 3%.
Yes.
So we might be looking at what's CPI, like 9?
6% or something.
Okay, so then plus 3%, so we're looking at 9%
9%.
increase. The question is, do we want to
Yeah.
reach out for others or have them
Yeah, I
rebid?
don't think it would hurt to reach out and have them rebid, because I think there's sometimes, I don't know.
Yeah,
More needs to be done, I think.
right. And I'm very frustrated because the last time we went through this, and it's coming up on 2 years ago. We sent them a letter, told them we're gonna cancel. I expressed communication was a big issue. That worked good for about 3 months.
Nice
And then
going.
I've gotten little to nothing ever
At
since.
it again on the tower for
And
us.
our
Right.
rates still haven't changed,
No, and that's the thing, another thing,
and the thing keeps freezing.
the water rate study has not been finished. You know, those guys, I told them, I said, I'd like to meet once a year, twice a year, let's just get together, make sure everything's kosher, everybody's got emails, everybody's got phones. Said, oh, everybody came up here, was ready to meet and talk, and 3 months later, I haven't heard a thing since. I don't chase people anymore, so
I don't think
Um,
we should just renew the contract.
I don't think so either.
We need to either, you know, we put it up for an RFP again and see what happens. And
we gotta do something, so I guess the question is, do we wanna send them another letter, put on the agenda to send them a letter for next week?
I would say yes.
So then we need assistance from Jason to be able to stretch out further, define.
I would, he'd be a one, I would
Yeah, I
think he'd be a
could-
good step.
Call them and ask him
They'd be
about
interested.
that.
Because if you put it in.
The paper,
local
nobody's gonna
paper,
see it.
and
Yeah, where do you put it?
No offense to local paper.
No.
Right, it's just, yeah, they only go so far.
Yeah.
Yep. So I would say reach out.
Do you still have that letter saved from
Oh,
2 years ago?
Yeah.
Can you update that one or send it to me and I'll update it?
Mhm.
Take the dates.
Should just be able to update it.
I would say, yeah,
Date it,
update the
redate it,
dates
change
and, make an action item for next week and
Good.
start the process.
Sounds good to me. I'll work with Jason then and see what he
Okay.
thinks. for
Appreciate that much.
steps, so we can get that going because that would be July 1st, but our fiscal year would change, so.
Sounds good. All right. Anything else we need to digress to that I'm missing here?
no,
Okay,
I think we're okay.
no problem. All right, so we will, department heads. Who wants to start? Joel's
Have a
still
tough
wounded.
week, Joel.
I'm not even woke up yet.
That's what I figured. Sheriff, and
He's still halfway home from.
He's still halfway home,
Carolina.
you say anything? Judy? Okay. Anybody else out there? It's pretty quiet, I think. Short? Jackie? Anything?
Short's good.
Okay. All right. So Supervisor Weekly.
The only thing I did was sit in on the, was asked my opinion on the Worth County Zoning Commission as far as expanding zoning to all of the townships instead of just 3, and I kind of gave my input there, and that was about it. They were discussing that over, so.
AJ?
Yeah, I just kind of did the same thing. I give my opinion to the zoning board on changing that to countywide. I think they're doing a good job of going through the proper process, so we'll just see what they end up bringing to us next. Go from there, and then I also we had ARP committee, which we kind of already discussed. Oh, Shell Rock Watershed did get their grant. So, got news on that, that $100,000 grant will be coming from the DNR to get that watershed district established and get a comprehensive plan going, and then they can, once we get that all figured out, then we'll get into the process of hiring people to be able to go out, get grants, start doing work within the watershed, so. So that's some good news there is that, our support and everybody else's support did work, so.
So, and I know you're just getting in the early stages of that one there, and I'm also pushing the Cedar one over there, so that's something we can discuss going forward too. The last thing we got from the ID pamphlet we got from the, they say from the Iowa Drainage Association. If you read that in there, was it in Kansas somewhere? They've taken their watershed district money, whatever they're doing down there, and they bought a cover crop cedar to start utilizing that. And, you know, people have to, it's for service fee. And they were seeding cover crops to hopefully plus some of the nutrients going into the watershed. So, I mean, that's something as state money or whatever comes available, maybe we all want to look at in watersheds up here too. So,
Yeah.
I didn't, left that at home, I think. It was in that last letter we got from IWDA or whatever it is that they send out quarterly. So, something to think about is watershed.
Right.
Yeah,
Yeah.
involved in these watershed boards.
Yeah, as things get going, yeah, that would be a good thing, so.
Yeah.
But I think that's all I have.
Okay, so we had Worth County Safety on Monday. So I don't even remember what we all discussed. There was no incidents, I don't believe this time really, other than a little bit in the sheriff's because of the fire, I think. You know, one of those things, but nothing major, nothing really there. Other than that, I did participate in a local food webinar with Healthy Harvest and a couple other people were on there, just a nice general discussion about local grown food and what can be done to continue to improve on that. And help them go forward, help people utilize local food, maybe canning classes, things like that, which was kind of interesting, you know, something that they're working on. So hopefully we can continue to find money in the budget to help them out a little bit, you know, to continue building that process here in North Iowa. So other than that, yeah, we all had the same meeting there that night on zoning and stuff. We all gave our opinion and we'll see what they bring forward. So that was it. Okay. Anything for next week's agenda? Do we need any special budget meetings coming up here, Becky?
Yes, I'm wondering
Workshop.
what you guys are thinking about Wednesday or
When?
Thursday.
Wednesday or Thursday?
Wednesday's just tomorrow, so
Okay.
Thursday. If that would
I'm
work.
out Wednesday. I
Yeah,
can do Thursday.
Thursday I can,
And morning, afternoon,
whatever works best. I'm good all day, so
I'm good all day too.
are you full?
I cannot do Thursday.
I can do later Wednesday afternoon. I'm just got a meeting all Wednesday morning,
I could do.
yeah, Wednesday would be later probably.
like 2 o'clock on Wednesday
Or later.
or later, 3.
Wednesday.
It's a little bit too long. I got hazmat Wednesday night, but
Mm.
I can do, well, if you guys want to do 2, 3 o'clock, that's fine with me Wednesday afternoon.
And just start looking at everybody's budgets and seeing where you see there's,
You want to go at 2 o'clock on Wednesday?
Works for me.
I'll get it posted.
Okay. Anything else right now that needs to come before the board? If not, I will take a motion to adjourn.
Welcome to adjourn.
Is there a second?
Second it.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Motion carries. Thank you, everyone.